you saved me about 20 minutes of a presentation. and I will say, having not met you before, you were inspirational. For someone who has children, listening to your passion, the message that you conveyed to this generation of baseball players was truly special. And young people need role models. And having not met Matt Murata before, just listening and talking to some people, we need more of you around this generation of baseball players. And a lot of the life skills that he talked about, yeah, I'm just older, so I get to put it on a resume, but what he's doing on a day-to-day basis is to be commended. So I wanted to thank you, and I really enjoyed listening to what you had to say tonight, Matt.
Thank you.
So we're going to cut to the chase tonight. I made some new friends on table 2, Margaret and the gang, and someone asked me before, what does someone with a law degree have anything to do with vision training and working for Major League Baseball teams? My children at times, I confuse them. Dad, we don't really get it. We get to go to spring training in Port St. Lucie and Fort Lauderdale and Tampa, but you're not an eye doctor. And the big component of what I do, just to kind of take the magic secret sauce out, my job really is to take players and get them to learn how to look at nothing and see everything. Open focus is a concept, and it's been around for centuries. It's what great athletes do. It's what great people do. It's what great fighter pilots do. It's really teaching hitters in particular that you can see so much more by looking at nothing. And I heard that 7, 8 years ago. I was in spring training, and a player who many years ago, I'm probably dating myself, but some of you guys probably know who Manny Ramirez is, right? And some of the best hitters around are either brilliant or idiots. And somewhere in between, Manny was a visual genius, as I found out. And my assignment with the Red Sox that year was to take all of the minor league players who had tremendous bat speed, who were great, but just couldn't really hit at the next level. And for some of the hitters that are out here, understand the following. You're as good as any guys that you watch on TV, right? Your bat speed, your athleticism can get you to where you want to go. And as Matt said before, keep dreaming big. But at some point, what might separate those of you in this room still playing and the ones that you watch on TV really is clarity of thought and your ability to continue to play like goofy little 7-year-olds. And I use that all the time, even in spring training, when guys who have been given these million-dollar bonuses, that the pressure to perform is off the charts. They've got the parents, they've got the players, they've got the agent, the farm director, and it's tremendous. And my job really is to, for the most part, do you remember when you were 7 years old playing Little League, picking your nose, waving at mom and dad, when the game was just simply pure joy? And for those of you that feel pressure or think that there's an expectation level, and I know we talked about this a few weeks ago when Scott had me with the team during Super Bowl Monday, or Super Bowl Sunday, and we role played, and we asked these 19, 20-year-olds to, what would you do if you were still playing Little League? With no care in the world, with pure love, with pure joy, and it was something that the major league players, they just do very well at, and they can do it almost automatically. You look at a Derek Jeter who just retired, right? He still played the game like he was a goofy little leaguer. That's why he was so good. Well, how do you do that? And I know on Super Bowl Sunday, understanding that this is still a game, each day of practice, be animated. Be that Disney character that you used to daydream about when you were smaller. Right? That gets you back to playing like the goofy little 7-year-olds. And so there's a lot of stuff that I do, but from the vision standpoint, someone asked before if I give out prescription lenses. No. Eyeglasses. No. Having good eyesight has nothing to do with being a good hitter, because as we're learning, right, if there's no clarity of thought, the eyes, which are the only really external part of the brain, doesn't work. So when people ask me, well, are you a vision guy or a mental guy? My wife says I'm a mental guy. But integrating both is really what the master teachers do and the master players do. So those of you that are saying, well, I see the ball very well, the reason why some of you at times struggle, and this is no different from controlling pitchers. I love talking to pitching coaches, and they're talking about this and consistency of release point. One of the best ways in which you can really teach pitching, let them close their eyes and teach them how to meditate and breathe, and get them to understand the power of imagery, right? When we were young children, closing our eyes was very easy, and we could create daydreams. We saw the boogeyman in the closet. As we get older, it becomes much more difficult to imagine. And one quick imagination story, and I know the people who like the Yankees will love this. There was an overrated player many years ago named Mariano Rivera who just retired, and I say that certainly tongue-in-cheek. So you talk about somebody with great imagination skills. In 2000, he comes to visit us in Orange County, where I live, in Chester, New York. And we're here to film him because this is the greatest closer ever, right? And we're just so curious to find out what makes Mariano tick, what his delivery looks like. So we needed him to throw one of his marquee Mariano Rivera fastballs. So he shows up. As unluck would have it, it was the day after the ticker tape parade. So Mariano was tired. Let's just leave it at that. He was tired. So we dress him up, right? And I bring him downstairs, and I said, Mo, I just need one pitch. I need you to become Mariano Rivera for that one time, so these 9 cameras that are there can show exactly what makes you tick. So he goes out there, and he's complaining because he's tired and whatnot. He gets on the mound, and he's throwing. And we have radar guns. Every Little League coach and high school coach in the area was invited to see the best of the best. And there's Mariano, 79, 80. So I'm embarrassed, right? I'm saying to myself, well, how do we show the next generation of pitchers what Mariano Rivera is doing if he's not really throwing? So I call timeout. I walk out to the mound, and I'm talking to him now, and I said, Mariano, I need you to be Mo. I need you to be the greatest ever at this point. I said, because 81 miles an hour is not going to look good on camera. So he turns to me and says, Tony, you need to do me a favor now. I said, whatever it's going to take for Mariano Rivera to show up. He says, I need you to stand there in front of the catcher. I said, you want me to stand there? He said, yeah, I can't do this by just throwing to a catcher. I need to actually pretend and imagine that I'm back in the World Series again. I need somebody to stand there. So I'm looking around for a volunteer. I have no interest in standing 60 feet away from a 95, 97 mile an hour bullet that could be coming from someone who's tired. So I'm looking around, and Mariano said, no, Tony, I need you to stand there. I've known Mariano for quite some time, so I'm looking at this crowd, and I'm looking at the camera people, and I'm saying, all right, I'm going to go back and just simply stand there. So I go back, and there's Mariano getting ready to throw. And as soon as he saw me, you can see, those of you that watched him for many years, all of a sudden, he turned into the superhero, right? He turned into the guy. And I'm sitting there with a bat in my hand. I think I had 3 helmets on. I was so scared, right? And I very quickly, I prayed, saying, Lord, please make sure that this fastball that's coming doesn't hit me somewhere. And lo and behold, right, we needed one pitch, and he threw, I prayed, and the radar guns flashed 97 miles an hour, and we were done. Right? And I lived. Moral of the story is, great players, great people have great imagination skills. And one of the tools that we talked about on that Sunday was, and these days you have to be cool in your language. You can't call it imagery or visualization, so we had to call it, what do we call it, Scott? Best flicks. Right? We watch Netflix on TV. So part of my job as a coach is to create these mini highlight reels for players before they go to bed, before they wake up in the morning. I'm actually working with corporate executives now. Close your eyes and rehearse your day. And imagery and visualization is a skill. Those of you that think that you can just simply close your eyes and see in your mind's eye what's going on, it is a technique and a passion that has to be practiced. So these best flicks, these tiny little highlight films, become extremely important when you're starting to develop athletes. The other component of what we did on Sunday, and there's one more besides the magic one, was rap chats, right? The ability to have these affirmations. And affirmations is a big word for young people. So we can't call them affirmations, we call them rap chat. Their ability to have this positive and powerful language at any time that they could program. That they need to learn at some point that their thoughts are controlled by their beliefs, and their ability to, when competition starts, to be able to have these rap chats very accessible. And those of you that think, well, how important is this part of the game? I'm here to tell you that at the college level, and this is just my opinion, 90% of performance, or lack thereof, is probably the things that Matt talked about and that I'm making reference to. Your son's ability to learn how to understand that relaxation is a skill. Concentration is a master technique that takes decades to understand, and your ability to focus on the fire is a tremendous tool to have. And again, as Matt made reference to, it's the ultimate life school. You've got some of the best coaches in the country here, and they get it, right? This isn't about the major leagues. There's a good possibility everyone on this roster is not going to play in the big leagues. Possibly. And I can share with you, because I didn't have time on Sunday, the most powerful word that the coaches and the players can give the young athletes is the word yet. Not yet. I'm not the best player on the team yet. I can't throw 95 miles an hour yet. I'm not a dean student with a grade point average of 3.5 yet. So maybe some of you will play in the major leagues. And until someone says you can't do it, you keep dreaming and continuing to do that. And then, like Matt explained before, just take that passion and turn it to something else. And that's really what these weapons of mental dominance, these WMDs that I make reference to, talk about. The ability to talk about, the ability to talk to yourself in a way in which almost becomes spiritual at some point. Your ability to close your eyes and create your future, the ultimate skill for an athlete. And my favorite one, and those of you that have had a tough day, right, we're going to give this out, it actually flushes. Because as tremendous athletes, and certainly at the college and professional level, their ability or inability to let go, your ability to reset, your ability to tell your teammates, it's okay. I know on Sunday we talked about a public reset button, that really good teams, someone makes an error at shortstop, we're not going to pitch this again until all of our brothers in arms see that he's okay, and to have that personal reset button. So the toilet becomes a very effective teaching strategy to learn about staying in the now. We know how important that is. As we get older, we understand about the present. Every day is a gift. Every day is a present. But for some of the younger players, they have to understand that their ability to let go, right? Their ability to flush becomes the ultimate weapon once the game starts. And certainly when it's time for them to go on and live their lives, their ability to let it go and flush becomes extremely effective. You hope that at some point when all the players on this team leave Coach Muscat and the coaches, these life skills that we're talking about are real, right? And it's not just simply talked about. And to your program's credit, and I visit a lot of different colleges. That's kind of what I do now, besides working for now that baseball and softball is back in the Olympics. A lot of coaches talk about it, but the coaching staff here, they get it. That if they're going to continue to be one of the best programs in the Northeast and maybe win a national championship, right, which is really the next hurdle, their ability to integrate some of these weapons on a day-to-day basis becomes extremely important. My message to the parents that are here, how do I say this nicely? And we have workshops. Are you an ass or an asset to your child's development here? Am I allowed to use that word, Scotty? Look no further than Little League, look no further than travel. It's gotten crazy out there, right? Parents at times don't get it. Parents don't understand that every kid wants to play, and as we tell the parents that I get a chance to talk to in these sports parenting workshops, if you have nothing nice to say,